I was always overlooked while my sister was spoiled. This Christmas she refused to book me a room, saying only the real family could stay together. Hello Reddit. My name is Lily and I am a 28-year-old project manager for a technology business in Seattle. I make a reasonably comfortable $135,000 per year and am glad to say that I've made a wonderful life for myself. It wasn't handed to me, however. It's the result of a lot of effort, planning and long hours. Growing up I did not have a silver spoon in my mouth, but my sister Victoria 30 degrees Fahrenheit did. She is the family's golden child. My parents James 59 million and Maria 57 million treated her as their pride and delight. Victoria had an idyllic childhood. She has never had to labor for anything. My parents paid for her college tuition, purchased her a car and even assisted with the down payment on her first home. Meanwhile I took a different road. I was working part-time jobs during college, surviving on scholarships and scraping by to pay my rent and utilities. When I graduated I had no debt but plenty of exhaustion. Uncle William 62 million, my mother's brother, was one of the few people who noticed how hard I worked. He's a self-made millionaire who started his real estate enterprise from scratch. He never had children of his own, therefore he has always been quite generous to our family. However, he believes in earning what you have. So while he financially supported Victoria and my parents, he respected my decision to make my own path. Victoria and her husband Daniel 32 million appear to live a beautiful life, but it's all a facade. The amusing thing is that Victoria's Instagram is full with selected photographs from their travels, Nathan's 8 million private school events and pricey dinners out. But if you pull back the curtain, it's all Uncle William's money. She and Daniel do not have legitimate employment. Daniel is theoretically in sales, but his performance is dismal at best. Victoria has never worked in her life. She proclaims herself a full-time mom, but let's be honest, she has a nanny. Uncle William also provides complete funding for my parents. They live in a lovely retirement home in Arizona and he pays for their medical costs and monthly expenses. My father spent the majority of his life as a factory worker and my mother as a teacher, so they never saved anything for retirement. They don't appear to feel guilty about relying on Uncle William though. They act as if it were their birthright. Uncle William once told me, "Lily, you're the only one in this family who knows what it means to stand on your own 2 feet." Hearing it meant everything to me, since it felt like someone had finally recognized my struggle. I know Victoria resents me for having that kind of relationship with him. But the truth is that she couldn't survive without him. I don't expect anything from my parents anymore and I'm fine with it. It's really difficult to see them constantly pander to Victoria while acting as if she's some kind of saint for spending money she doesn't even have. The most aggravating aspect is Victoria's arrogance. She regularly brags about her lifestyle, making snarky remarks about how I work too hard or don't know how to enjoy life. But the truth is I'm content. My life may not be as glamorous as hers, but it is real and unique to me. So let's just say that things got out of hand this Christmas season. Every Christmas Uncle William takes the family on a large luxurious trip. We've been doing it for years and I'll be honest, it's enjoyable. For a few days we stay in luxurious hotels, eat delicious food and occasionally get along. Uncle William enjoys going all out and I believe it is his way of keeping the family together now that we are all living in separate places. This year he chose a ski resort near Aspen. I'm not much of a skier, but I was eager since Aspen in December is breathtaking. Plus I don't go on lavish vacations every day. Uncle William delegated responsibility for booking everything to Victoria, which was mistake number 1. But he has always trusted her to handle these situations, most likely because she has nothing else going on and plenty of free time. I considered offering to help, but I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. Victoria enjoys being the planner since it allows her to claim credit for everything, even though she is only scheduling things with Uncle William's money. So what's the worst that might happen? I booked my trip and arrived in Aspen slightly later than everyone else due to work. My firm had a large project deadline, so I needed to finish everything up before I could leave. I got to the resort around 4 p.m. dragging my suitcase through the snow. The scenery was stunning. Imagine snow-covered mountains, quaint small cabins with dazzling lights strung everywhere. It looked like something from a Christmas movie. The main lodge was even more beautiful, with a massive stone fireplace, soaring ceilings and floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the mountains. Families were relaxing around the fire, drinking hot chocolate. Couples were coming in from the slopes and everyone appeared to be having a great time. I stepped up to the front desk expecting a smooth greeting. But instead the clerk gave me this perplexed expression. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said, frantically working on her computer. We don't have a reservation under your name. At first I thought maybe Victoria simply forgot to add me. Mistakes happen. But Victoria did not forget. She did it on purpose. I knew I was in for a condescending passive-aggressive remark as soon as she walked into the foyer. Victoria always had a way of making any circumstance into an opportunity to feel superior, and today was no exception. She arrived looking like she was preparing to make an advertisement for winter coats. Designer clothes, flawless hair, and a wide smile that could cut glass. "Oh, Lily," she replied, appearing astonished to see me. "Didn't I tell you? I only booked rooms for the real family, me, Daniel, Nathan, and of course Mom and Dad." I don't believe I've ever been so stunned into silence. How do you respond to something like that? The way she described the actual family made it plain that she did not consider me a member of the group. The fact that she made no apologies was the cherry on top. I looked over at my parents expecting they'd intervene and say something, but they simply avoided eye contact. They appeared embarrassed, but not enough to do anything about it. Naturally, Victoria kept going. She never knows when to stop. "But you're so independent, right?" she asked in that false lovely voice she employs when she pretends to be kind but is actually mocking you. "I'm sure you can find something nearby." Then she laughed as if the entire scenario was a joke. I could feel my cheeks becoming hot, but I wasn't going to let her see me unhappy. I've learned over the years that Victoria feeds on making others feel small, and the easiest way to cope with her is to pretend she doesn't bother you. So I took a deep breath, feigned a smile, and said, "All right, enjoy your holiday then." I grabbed my suitcase and headed out. As I left the foyer, I could feel Victoria's smug look on my back. She undoubtedly believed she had triumphed and had humiliated me. Maybe she had just a little bit. But I was not going to let her ruin my trip. The reality is Victoria has pulled something similar before. She has always been the queen of exclusion. Whether it's accidentally forgetting to invite me to family meals or cleverly not mentioning plans until it's too late for me to attend, it's as if she derives sick pleasure from reminding me that in her eyes I don't belong. And what about my parents? They have always let her get away with it. They'll say things like, "Oh, that's just Victoria," or "She didn't mean it like that," as if her actions had no real effects. But this felt different. This was not just a supper or a casual gathering, it was Christmas. A family custom. And she purposely excluded me, knowing full well how much it would hurt. By the time I got outside, I was angry. The chilly air smacked my face, but it didn't cool me down. I took out my phone and began searching for local hotels, determined to find somewhere else to stay. I was not going to crawl back to Victoria or my parents and beg for a place to sleep. After a few minutes of exploring, I discovered another luxurious hotel approximately 10 minutes away. They had a suite available. It was absurdly pricey, but I didn't mind. I was not going to let Victoria's petty bullshit ruin my Christmas. I called my two dearest friends, Kate and Grace. Neither of them had any great Christmas plans this year. Kate's family was out of town and Grace had just ended a relationship and was not in the mood to celebrate. "Hey, so how do you feel about spending Christmas in Aspen?" I requested an answer. They did not even hesitate. Within hours they were on their way. That evening we transformed my suite into our own personal Christmas hideaway. We ordered room service, which included everything from burgers to desserts, and then relaxed in the outdoor hot tub that overlooked the mountains. The steam ascended into the cool night air, and for the first time that day I felt as if I were on vacation. While reclining in the hot tub, we began discussing the entire scenario with Victoria. Kate could not believe it. She actually said, "You weren't part of the real family." Grace shakes her head. "She's always been a piece of work, but this is a new low." Later that night we returned to the suite and turned up the Christmas music. We danced around in our jammies, ate far too much chocolate, and laughed till our sides hurt. We felt like kids again, having a sleepover and not caring about anything else in the world. I decided to share some Instagram stories. I was not attempting to be petty. Okay, perhaps I was a little petty, but I wanted Victoria to know that her little act had not wrecked my vacation. I shared a video of us in the hot tub with the mountains in the background, another of us dancing in our suite, and a photo of our absurd room service spread. Victoria was the first to see them. I could almost feel her rage through the television. Knowing her, she probably couldn't bear the thought that I was having a better time than she was. Victoria thrives on being the center of attention, so seeing me happy and unconcerned must have irritated her. The next morning I received a text from Uncle William. He requested to meet for breakfast at my hotel. I knew he'd heard something about what happened at the other lodge and I felt both relieved and nervous. Uncle William does not play games with his family. When I met him in the hotel restaurant, he was already seated at a corner table sipping coffee and looking as cool as ever. Uncle William is one of those persons who draws attention without even trying. He's bright, direct, and constantly seems to be 10 steps ahead of everyone else. We exchanged niceties, but he got to the point swiftly. "So Lily," he continued, putting his coffee cup down. "What happened at the lodge?" I took a big breath before telling him everything. From the minute I arrived and discovered I didn't have a reservation to Victoria's arrogant little spiel about booking rooms for the genuine family. I did not sugarcoat anything, but I also avoided sounding whining. I only presented the facts. As I spoke, I noticed Uncle William's expression change. At first he simply seemed thoughtful. But as I continued speaking, his face darkened. When I finished, he was shaking his head in disbelief. "I trusted Victoria to handle the booking for everyone," he remarked quietly and firmly. "I can't believe she excluded you like that. And your parents just stood there and let it happen?" I nodded. "Pretty much." Uncle William exhaled and leaned back in his chair. "Unbelievable," he mumbled. The waiter arrived with our food: pancakes for me, eggs and toast for Uncle William, and we sat silently for a minute while he processed it. Finally he put down his fork and glanced at me. "Don't worry, Lily. I'll take care of this." I wasn't sure what he meant by take care of this, but I wasn't going to disagree. If there's one thing I've learned about Uncle William, it's that he follows through on his promises. After breakfast he excused himself and went to his room. I returned to my suite where Kate and Grace were already awake and organizing our day. I didn't tell them much about my chat with Uncle William, mostly because I didn't know what would happen next. But I had a feeling things were going to become interesting. A few hours later I received my response. And let me tell you, Uncle William didn't hold back. Update 1: It's been a week after the Christmas incident and boy have things escalated quickly. Uncle William didn't lie when he said he'd take care of things. Let me explain what happened following our breakfast talk. First, Uncle William did not simply cancel their hotel reservations. He took off all financial support to Victoria and my parents immediately. There's no warning. There is no steady decline. Simply terminate all assistance. Victoria's idyllic life proved to be a house of cards, and it collapsed dramatically. The first indicator of disaster occurred when Victoria's credit cards were refused. Apparently Uncle William had also been paying the expenses. She attempted to keep it secret, but word spread when she had to cancel Nathan's winter break activities because she couldn't afford the costs. Then came the mortgage payment dilemma. Uncle William had been contributing to their monthly bills to assist them keep their lifestyle in their upscale neighborhood. Without his help, they're trying to figure out how to keep their home. Daniel's commission-based sales work is insufficient to support their costs. Victoria has been in such denial about money that they have almost no savings. What is the most ironic part? Victoria began contacting me repeatedly, leaving voicemails that ranged from angry accusations to heartbreaking pleas. "How could you do this to us?" she screamed in a single message. "Nathan is crying because we had to cancel his private tennis lessons. Are you happy now?" In another communication she attempted to guilt-trip me. "I know I made a mistake at Christmas, but do you really want to see your nephew suffer?" I haven't answered any of her messages. After years of treating me as if I weren't a member of the real family, it's almost laughable how passionately she needs my help now. My folks aren't handling it very well. Mom contacted me in tears, stating that they may have to leave their retirement community because they cannot afford the monthly costs without Uncle William's assistance. "We're too old to start over," she cried. "Can't you talk to your uncle? He'll listen to you." The arrogance of that request had me stunned. After years of tolerating Victoria's actions and disregarding my feelings, do they really expect me to advocate for them? Dad wrote me a long email about how dissatisfied he is with my lack of family loyalty. According to him, I'm being vengeful and petty by turning Uncle William against the family. He deliberately failed to mention that they showed no allegiance to me while Victoria was conducting her trick. What's the most satisfying aspect of all this? Victoria's Instagram has gone black. No more regular updates about her happy life or carefully prepared family images. There will be no more meek bragging about Nathan's pricey private school or their luxurious holidays. Her most recent post was from before Christmas with the generic phrase "family is everything." The irony is almost perfect. Uncle William called me yesterday to check in. He wasn't gloating, that's not his style. But he said something that truly stayed with me. Sometimes people have to lose everything to appreciate the worth of anything. He also stated that both Victoria and my parents had bombarded him with calls and emails, but he is standing firm. They made their choice, he stated. Now they can live with it. I have to admit that I feel a little guilty as I watch everything implode. But then I remember Victoria's smug expression in the hotel lobby claiming I wasn't a member of the genuine family. I remember how my parents dismissed her conduct. All the years I was made to feel inadequate because I wanted to forge my own path rather than relying on handouts. Kate and Grace have been extremely supportive throughout this. They're just facing the consequences of their own actions, Kate said during our coffee date yesterday. Grace went on. Maybe this will finally teach them that money isn't everything. Meanwhile, I'm concentrating on my work and personal life. Our company's major project is progressing well and there are talks of a promotion in the near future. It's odd that while Victoria's neatly created world crumbles, the life I've established for myself grows stronger. I've never sought vengeance or to see my family suffer. All I ever wanted was to be respected and recognized as an equal member of the family. It's unfortunate that they had to take such harsh measures to comprehend the implications of their conduct. But sometimes that's all it takes. Victoria, Daniel, and my parents are going to discover the value of self-reliance. Maybe then they'll realize the importance of hard work and independence, which Uncle William saw in me all along. Update 2. It's been a month since my previous update and things with my family have taken a drastic turn. Victoria and Daniel were forced to sell their home. They couldn't have made it through 2 months of mortgage payments without Uncle William's help. They've moved to a little rental property on the outskirts of town and Victoria isn't taking it well. What is the biggest change? Nathan had to shift from his fancy private school to the nearby public school. Victoria attempted to portray it on social media as a deliberate decision to give Nathan a more realistic experience. But everyone knows the truth. She couldn't afford the $30,000 annual tuition anymore. Her Instagram account, which used to be filled with photographs from school galas and fundraisers, has not been updated in weeks. The funniest part is seeing Victoria strive to keep her appearance. She was observed at Target purchasing home furnishings, something she would have deemed beneath her just a few months ago. When several of her elite parent friends came into her there, she virtually hid behind the seasonal displays. The women she used to organize charity luncheons with are now pretending not to recognize her at school pickup. Daniel has been compelled to work harder at his sales job. No more lengthy golf meetings or longer lunch breaks. He's finally recognizing that without Uncle William's connections and discreet financial backing, he's just another terrible salesperson trying to meet quotas. My folks have also had to downsize. They sold their condo in the upscale retirement community and relocated to a smaller apartment complex. Mom keeps stating it'll be temporary till they work things out with William. But deep down I believe they understand this is their new reality. What's the most startling development? Victoria actually had to start looking for work. After 15 years of being a full-time mother with a full-time nanny, she realizes her skill set is fairly limited. She applied for some marketing opportunities, saying that her experience managing her personal brand on Instagram qualified her. But so far, no takers. Meanwhile, I was just promoted to senior project manager. The irony is not lost on me. While they are all struggling to adjust to living within their means, my career is thriving. I treated myself to a beautiful bottle of champagne to celebrate. And Uncle William sent me a lovely bouquet with a letter that reads, "Success is the best revenge. Proud of you." Kate mentioned something intriguing yesterday. Notice how none of them have actually apologized to you? They're all just sorry they got caught and lost their meal ticket. She's correct. Among all the tears, accusations and begs for help, no one has said I'm sorry for treating you like you weren't family. I suppose some people never learn. They're so focused on lamenting their lost lifestyle that they can't understand what they did wrong in the first place. Update 3. It's been 3 months since everything changed and I'm now ready to reveal what's happened. The dust has settled and everyone's true colors are more visible than ever. My birthday was last week and Uncle William sent me a handwritten card that moved me to tears. "Dear Lily," he wrote. "Watching you build your life on your own terms has been one of my greatest joys. Your strength isn't in spite of your struggles, it's because of them. Never doubt that independence is the greatest gift you've given yourself. Proud of you always." His card arrived at the right time since I had just completed the paperwork for my new position. With my promotion to senior project manager, I received a big raise in stock options. I am currently earning $165,000 per year plus bonuses. The irony is not lost on me. I'm now earning more than Daniel earned in his peak years thanks to Uncle William's covert assistance. Victoria and Daniel's new reality has really set in. Victoria had to take a job as an administrative assistant at a local real estate firm. Oh, the irony of working in real estate after years of living lavishly thanks to Uncle William's real estate empire. She is struggling with basic office tasks and is reporting to a boss for the first time in her life. Daniel's commission-based sales have struck rock bottom. Without Uncle William's business ties to provide him prospects, he realizes how awful his sales talents are. They had to sell both of their fancy vehicles and now share an old Honda Civic. Nathan seemed to be the only one adjusting well to their new situation. He has made friends at his new public school and joined the soccer squad. Ironically, he appears happier now that Victoria cannot control every part of his life with pricey activities and private tutors. My parents had to learn how to budget for the first time in years. They've lost their country club membership along with the majority of their friends. Dad is trying to boost their income by driving for Uber, which he would have thought beneath him only a few months ago. Mom is looking into substitute teaching again, but being out of work for so long has made it tough. Victoria launched a lifestyle blog about embracing simple living as if she had a choice. Her first piece discussed finding joy in home-cooked meals after their weekly dining out money was depleted. The responses were harsh, with many criticizing her clear attempt to portray her forced lifestyle modifications as spontaneous decisions. Their desperate attempts to contact me have also evolved. Initially, it was all wrath and accusations. Then began the guilt trip and emotional manipulation. They're now taking a different humility. So feign humility. Victoria wrote me a lengthy email on how she has learned so much from this experience and how she had never appreciated the importance of hard work until now. She still managed to make it all about herself without apologizing for what she'd done. Mom and Dad have been exchanging texts about healing the family and going forward together. Dad even offered that since I'm doing so well I could help them financially. The arrogance still astounds me. They seem to believe that because I am successful I owe them anything. Uncle William contacted me last week with some interesting news. Victoria had arrived at his office unannounced, attempting to convey her side of the situation. He claimed she broke down crying in the foyer, producing a spectacle that required security to remove her out. He was unmoved by her performance. Crocodile tears don't pay bills, he said. She's still trying to manipulate her way back into my wallet instead of actually changing. Last weekend I purchased my first house, a lovely condo in a trendy neighborhood of Seattle. I did everything on my own. I saved for a down payment, was approved for a mortgage based on my own income and credit, and negotiated the terms myself. When I received the keys, I felt a sense of accomplishment that no amount of passed down wealth could ever provide. Victoria still sees the whole affair as a temporary setback, something she must endure until things return to normal. What she does not realize is that this is normal. Earning your own way, living within your means, and accepting responsibility for your actions are the fundamental truths that most people face on a daily basis. I've learned that family isn't about who shares your DNA, it's about who shares your beliefs. Uncle William, Kate, and Grace have given me more genuine family support than my parents or sister ever had. Sometimes the family you select is more authentic than the one you were born into. So here I am. Excelling in my work, living in my own home, and finally free of the poisonous familial dynamics that used to hold me back. The finest revenge isn't always about getting even. It's about moving forward and never looking back. Thank you for watching. For more videos like this, remember to like and subscribe.